Everyone. Today I'm going to make something called lamb in a gravy sauce. My son is in a club and they do this once a year where they roast 2 lambs and they have a lamb feed. And so they have leftovers and they just give away to the members of the club. And so we have a lot of leftover lamb. I had one of these the day after, which was the day before yesterday, that he brought it back, and I thought, you know, I'm going to make a really nice, like a gravied lamb dish in a crock pot, and it's so easy. So these are already seasoned. They have rosemary, salt, pepper. They have a lot of seasonings in them already, so I'm not going to add any seasonings except for maybe a little bit of marjoram. So this is super easy because I'm doing it in a crock pot, and I'm going to use some cream of mushroom soup. I'm going to use some beef broth, some onion, and Worcestershire sauce, and that's it. And so I'm just going to assemble this together, and it's going to be really delicious. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up an onion, and I'm going to, like in chunky sizes like that, nothing small. And I'm going to saute my onions first because this gives it a lot of flavor. So what I'm going to do is saute 1 onion in some bacon grease until they're translucent. While you're sauteing your onions, you want to remove the meat from the bone. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut these up in small chunks, about however you want. But I'm going to cut them up in chunks right about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, just like this. So I'm going to take all my meat and I'm going to remove it from the bone. And it's nice if you have gloves, but I'm going to cut these all up in bite-sized pieces. You could cook them in whole pieces or half pieces, however you want, but I like to cook them in smaller pieces because they're easier to eat. Okay, we have all of our meat cut up, and I did put some bones in it for flavor, and I tried to remove as much of the fat as I could because lamb does have a lot of fat. Now you can do this with beef also, like with a roast. And I'm doing my own onions instead of using Lipton onion soup mix, which some people use, but I'm sauteing my own onions. So after you get your meat set aside, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put a full can of cream of mushroom soup, and you're going to put about 2 cups of beef broth and mix it together. You're not going to use this whole thing of broth. You're just going to whisk it together until it's all combined. So I just realized that I got healthy requests, which I believe is fat-free, which I didn't want, and I was real careful not to get it, but I think I did. So I'm going to add a little half and half so that this makes this richer. Now if you want to use low-fat, you know, fat-free soup, go ahead, but I certainly didn't intend to, so that's why I'm adding some half and half. Okay, you're going to come over to your onions, and you can see these have gotten translucent and a little caramelized. Now we're going to add our mushroom soup with broth and a little half and half. And what we're going to do is kind of heat this up. And the idea isn't to thicken it, but it's to combine everything together before we pour it over our meat, just to kind of marry the flavors. So now we're just going to add a little bit of marjoram. Like I said, it's already been seasoned plenty with salt and pepper. I certainly don't want to. Okay, so we have all of our soup and broth all put in here, and now we're going to put it on the crock pot foundation and cook it for 4 hours. There we go. See you in 4 hours. I almost forgot one item. It's the Worcestershire. So it'll be about 1.5 teaspoons you want to add. Gives it a little more flavor. Okay, it's been cooking half the time, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some potatoes in. Okay, we have probably about 45 minutes to go, and you can see our gravy is really nice. But I want it a little thicker, so I did a cornstarch slurry that I'm going to pour in here to thicken it up a little. And it should be ready in about 40 minutes. Okay, it's done. It's soup now. As you can see, it's got a lot of gravy, and it's just the right consistency. It's not too thin and not too thick. So our potatoes are fork tender, and that's what you want. This took exactly 4 hours to cook in my slow cooker, and it was on a high, because slow would be like 6 to 8 hours to 10 hours. So let's give this a try. Delicious. Really delicious. So the onions that I put in here give it a lot of extra flavor. The gravy's really good. So if you have leftover meat, you can make this, and you can make it with fresh meat too, but I would braise it, sear it on the stove first. But this is like, it can be done longer. You could put this in the morning. I put this in mid-afternoon. That's why I did it for 4 hours, so it would cook faster. This is awesome. So if you ever want to try lamb and gravy, this is it. Or you can use beef if you prefer. Thank you so much for watching.